fans are still very much fretting about the backup quarterback situation, Dan. Just what aren't Austin or Luke doing, or what do they need?
Like, our backup quarterback went 4 for 4 tonight. We won the game.
You don't have to tell me. I'm just.
Well, then tell them. I mean, they should go to our locker room and see them carry Brock Thomas up in the locker room after the game. Like, our players see it every day in practice. When has Brock come in and not performed well for us this season? He's done what we've asked him to do every time he's come in. So people should stop worrying about it. And they should also know that those other quarterbacks are doing a really good job in practice too. But Brock's playing well, guys. Right? Watch the film.
Watch the film. That's funny. Anyway, so this is the kind of things that you get with the James Corpea question. And the discussion that was being had, obviously, I don't know if you heard, I should have put more pad on the front of that sound bite so you heard James's question. So I don't know if you heard the beginning of that bite, but James was asking about the fans' concerns about backup quarterbacks and star chasing and Brock Thomas. Now, Brock Thomas came in the second half as the backup quarterback. He is a walk-on. I believe a little bit undersized. Let me double check because I think he's like 5'10 or 5'11. Brock Thomas, Oregon, height. 5'11. So he's a little bit on the smaller side. A little bit bigger than Dylan Gabriel. Smaller side. Walk-on. Legacy from Sheldon High School. Legacy, I believe his father and grandfather played at Oregon as well. But like I said before the season started, you had Luke Moga run fast fans and Dante Moore doubters that wanted Novosad to start because they're afraid of the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff. And here's the thing. Again, I'm approaching this with someone who has been in the locker room at one point before in my lifetime. I've been in locker rooms. I've been a part of discussions about depth charts and which team you made, JV, varsity, all that good stuff, right? So that's the angle that I'm coming with this next segment here. Now, at the beginning of the season, you had people who were obviously unsure, and somewhat justifiably so, unsure of Dante Moore, considering his performance at UCLA, and he hadn't played since he got benched at UCLA, so there was a lot of unanswered questions. And last year, they saw Luke Moga run fast, and then you had Austin Novosad still waiting in the wings as well. And they were sort of more known commodities than Dante Moore. Because if I remember correctly, Dante Moore didn't play much in the spring game. Last season, it was mostly Dylan Gabriel. So you have unanswered questions and with comparatively so answered guys behind Dante Moore on the depth chart. And then people forgot that Dan Lanning doesn't acknowledge or have any sort of transparency in that way or reveal anything to the media. And this season in particular, Dan Lanning had closed practices to media members. So everyone on the outside was running blind from everyone on the inside. And so, and all Dan Lanning told the media members was, oh yeah, they're competing. And then everyone, oh, it's quarterback competition. They're unsure about Dante Moore. Austin Novosad might be the guy. But Luke Moga run fast. They just took his words and ran with it. And if anyone remembers anything about Lanning, is of course he's going to say there's a competition. You want all your guys on every level of the depth chart competing. It's going to be a little bit of a semantic overload, sure, but yeah, of course. You want them competing for the starting job. Would you want a guy playing in the game that doesn't want the starting job? No, I'm good on second and third string. I'm good. I'll just do the drills, and I'm not going to compete for a start. Then he'll never be the starter for the team. That's an insane mindset to have. But sometimes you don't understand that mindset unless you've actually played in any organized sport before. I'm not talking about you had to be pro, because this is concepts and principles that happen when you play Pee Wee football too. Of course. And of course you're going to say, yeah, they're playing well and competing. What are you going to say? Oh yeah, my second stringer's dog shit? No. But everyone took and ran with the narrative that, oh, the QB room is undecided. Austin Novosad is that good. Dante Moore is not that great. Luke Moga run fast. The bottom line is we don't know what goes on in the locker room. Especially when you've been kept out of the locker room this season. So if Dan Lanning says that Brock Thomas is the second stringer, trust that he's the second stringer. Maybe he did earn it. None of us know. Only they know. And clearly, as the evidence of Lanning putting him number 2 on the depth chart and saying he's earned it, he's earned it. But people are so blind also by the star chasing. Austin Novosad was a 4-star. Luke Moga was a run fast 3-star. Hidden gem guy. But Brock Thomas was a walk-on. That sometimes some people have a different approach and certain things about it. Maybe Brock Thomas could have played anywhere else, but he wanted to walk on at Oregon because his family was there. And he lives and grew up in Austin's backyard. And then he earned his way. And he was just a guy that they didn't offer a scholarship to. And it was a mistake by Oregon. Who knows? We don't know. All we know is by what Lanning tells us. And there's lots of things Lanning doesn't want us to know. And that's fine. That is okay. Everyone's so nosy, you know? Who knows? And that's okay. And when Brock Thomas came in for Dante Moore in the second half on Saturday, like Lanning said, he went 4 for 4. There was one where it probably should have been a pick. But again, with the conditions, it was funny. The linebacker or the safety or whoever on Wisconsin was like wiping off his hands like, yo, it's raining so hard. I couldn't grab on the ball. And it shot right through his gloves and fell into Decoria Moore's hands on a big first down. Brock Thomas did his job in coming in as backup and didn't Jeff Lockie it. Sorry, Jeff, but come on. That's unfortunately a reputation amongst Oregon fans, but he didn't give up the game. He kept the offense going enough to win the game, and they ended up winning when he played essentially the entire second half when Dante Moore went out. So, I mean, even though it's against Wisconsin, I mean, he wasn't going in, subbing in for Dante in the national championship game or anything. But he did his job. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. And sometimes that moves you up the depth chart. Sometimes a coach or a manager, an employer, they're just looking for a guy that does their job. You know? Doesn't cause too many problems. Doesn't make too many mistakes. He's not the flashy guy that's the superstar. But he does his job, and he does it efficiently and well. Because if Brock Thomas was really that bad, he very well could have lost Oregon the game. We've had plenty of backups, Jeff Locke, sorry again, before that have lost us games against teams we should have beat still. But he didn't. He even got us an extra score, 21-7 instead of 14-7. He did his job. What are we complaining about? Honestly, like, isn't that what we want from a backup? And still, you could say, thank God that Dante Moore is not out for too long. He just got a really bad bloody nose. I've had some of those before, too, when I've gotten elbowed in the face. So I think it's not a season ender or anything. He'll be fine. Moving on. Heal up fast, heal up good, heal up well, and move forward. So that's good news as well. It wasn't a season or career-ending injury for Moore. But again, it's nice to have a solid enough backup that can keep the game won. That's what backups are for. And here's the thing too, and of course there's the speculation surrounding Novosad and Moga, especially in this new era, that they're probably going to hit the transfer portal. Maybe Brock ended up being that good where he got those guys to transfer and he's a solid backup. And I mean, before the season started, before we even got to Brock Thomas, there was Dante Moore, Novosad, Moga, Akili Smith Jr., 4 deep at quarterback. And of course, I think Akili has been redshirted, but who knows? Maybe Moga, Novosad redshirted. Maybe they're transferring. More power to you. What are we going to do to stop it? Are we going to start a Twitter petition to keep them at Oregon? We're not going to be able to stop it if they do. But if you got outplayed, then you got outplayed. I mean, that's just the bottom line of it all. So I think this concern is only one-sided and it's manufactured. Because look, what if Brock Thomas plays bad? They put Novosad in and he plays well. Okay, then you had a backup of a backup play better than a backup and he's playing well. Everybody wins. It's crazy. It's crazy. And look, not every recruit and not every transfer is going to be a winner, a solid direct hit every time. We had Ty Thompson, who was a 5-star out of Gilbert, Arizona. He was supposed to be the next great thing, and he didn't pan out. He's now playing tight end at Tulane, I think, right now. He didn't pan out at Tulane either. Mekhi Hughes, he was the top running back transfer, and I think the top overall transfer in the transfer portal, and it seems like he's gotten outplayed by 3 freshmen. And I think Noah is, no disrespect, but I think he's getting more carries this season because the coaches are trying to make sure he gets into the NFL, because I think he'll do well in the NFL. And it's not like he's been playing bad at Oregon, but you're seeing Davison and D'Air Hill and those guys getting more carries than even they were at the beginning of the season. I won't even say Whittington was being outplayed. I'm just saying they're playing at least up to Whittington's level, not in some cases better. So sometimes it just doesn't work out for some guys in some places. Some guys they'll leave, they'll transfer out, transfer to another place, and then they're balling out. And sometimes it's because that was just the player or coach that worked best with them. And I think last year there was rumors of Novosad transferring anyway to Baylor or something last year. So it's not shocking necessarily, but that's, Brock is doing what he's doing and he's getting rewarded for it, and it clearly deserves some sort of reward because he's getting rewarded. That's all you can ask. I don't know why he's catching any heat for any of this. He's just doing his thing, minding his business. And clearly, he's got players that on his side just as much as the coaches, if they're actually carrying him off the tee or off the field. They seem to like him. He's playing well. He comes from QBU High School in Sheldon, Justin Herbert and such. He's playing well enough at Oregon. He's the backup, and everyone, rallied around him when he came in the game. They won, and they celebrated with him. He's a member of the team. More power to him. It's like, Brock's the man. What can you say? I don't know. Obviously, he's not going to start over Dante, but, that's just what it is. But I guess that's all I got to say about the Brock Thomas scandal, if you will. I can't believe. Sometimes I can't believe we have these conversations as a fan base and as a fan base alongside the team. Because again, it's just like he didn't have enough stars, so I don't trust the coaches on that decision. Look, I understand coaches make bad decisions. As we've seen with all the ones that have gotten fired so far. And as I've discussed earlier with my issues with Will Stein, but to a certain degree, you still, you got to make sure those decisions are actually worth losing trust in somebody.